Judge Vargas has spoken. The judge in the Aubrey Drake Graham versus UMG case has ruled that Kendrick Lamar's contract will remain sealed. Drake cannot view Kendrick Lamar's contract. Only Drake's legal team will be able to view the redacted version of Kendrick Lamar's contract. So the contract they already presented, and Drake's legal team was like, well, they blacked out too many things. We can't see enough. We want them to remove the redact version so we can see everything, and we'll keep it under seal. The judge was like, listen, we'll keep this under seal so only you can look at it. Drake can't look at it. But we will keep it redacted because the pertinent information that you guys need is provided by UMG. You do not need to see every single detail of Kendrick Lamar's contract. If you don't believe me, I'll read exactly what the judge ruled in this statement. So Judge Vargas, United States District Judge, states, plaintiff and UMG's request for permission to file under seal a contract between UMG Recordings Inc. and Kendrick Lamar Duckworth as produced by UMG in redacted form with the designation attorney eyes only. The Lamar contract is granted. UMG has made a sufficient showing that the information that he seeks to seal qualifies as confidential, sensitive business information. The court therefore finds that in this instance, the interest in protecting confidential business information outweighs the qualified First Amendment presumption of public access. Additionally, because the Lamar contract reflects an ongoing contractual relationship between UMG's business partner and Lamar, the court agrees that sealing the contract would best protect UMG's business relationships and interests and the privacy and interests of non-parties. Plaintiff is therefore authorized to file the Lamar contract under seal. The clerk of court is directed to terminate ECF number 80. And all of that is to say, hey, look, you guys can look at the redacted version. You can read the parts that they've provided, but this is an ongoing contractual relationship between Lamar and UMG. You don't need the unredacted version, and only you guys can look at this under seal. You cannot provide any information as to what any of this says to the person you're representing, which is Drake.
Universal has potentially offered Drake $250 million to drop his lawsuit. The craziest part of this whole thing is Kanye told the truth on why Drake will win if it goes to court in his interview with DJ Academics. Kanye was explaining how this invisible hand was forcing artists to speak out against him. In particular, Ty Dolla $ign, where if he didn't speak out, they would cancel his tour and cut his artists.
And this is coercion. That's why these gonna be locked up someday. They said, Ty, you have to denounce Ye publicly or we're gonna drop your artist, Leon. We're gonna cancel all your tours.
Where a judge has ruled in favor of Drake denying UMG's motion to prevent his team from investigating executives' internal communication. What that means is his team can now look at all emails, documents, and UMG's promotional activities surrounding the Grammys and Super Bowl, which has now caused this rumor of a $250 million settlement if Drake drops his lawsuit. According to a very connected source close to Drake, UMG doesn't want this fight to go public. The insider claims the label is pushing hard to settle things before the lawsuit gains traction in court. While at the same time, Spotify is removing bot streams for the third month in a row from big artists, but obviously isn't going to drop any names. Where Kendrick went from 110 million monthly streams all the way down to 98 million, and Drake's didn't change. So Spotify removing all these bots could be their move to get out in front of what's to come with the Drake and Universal lawsuit as it continues. It's wild this whole thing started with Universal not wanting to pay Drake, and now they're gonna have to pay him even more money.
Okay, I'm feeling so vindicated today. My coworker Bill Donahue wrote the story for Billboard today, summing up the fact that legal scholars are calling Drake's lawsuit over Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us to be dangerous. As the subheading says, law professors are sounding the alarm bell on Drake's high-profile lawsuit against UMG, citing the controversial practice of rap lyrics in criminal cases. Great story, you should check it out. But this is something that I raised alarm bells about months ago in my newsletter. So I write this music tech newsletter called Machine Learnings for Billboard. It's free to sign up at the link in my bio if this kind of thing interests you. But one of my favorite topics within the whole realm of music and tech is streaming fraud, which is way more rampant than people give it credit for. Basically, late last year, Drake initiated legal action, not a fully fledged lawsuit, but some form of legal action against Universal Music Group, who put out Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. And Drake accused UMG of making it a mega hit by streaming fraud, basically. At the time that this legal action came out, I took a read because obviously accusing the largest music company in the world of streaming fraud is a huge deal. But I found quite a few places where things felt inconsistent or a little dubious. So in this newsletter, I wanted to break down for my readers exactly what some of the weak points might be. So let's go through a quote from the legal action that I pulled out for this story. Quote, UMG could have refused to release or distribute the song or required the offending material to be edited and or removed, Drake's lawyers wrote in the court document. Quote, but UMG chose to do the opposite. UMG designed, financed, and then executed a plan to turn Not Like Us into a viral mega hit with the intent of using the spectacle of harm to Drake and his businesses to drive customer hysteria and, of course, massive revenues. That plan succeeded, likely beyond UMG's wildest dreams. Here's what I said about it. By saying this, I said that Drake is essentially asking for censorship from major corporations to their artists. It's a slippery slope. As I wrote, I'd wager most people would find it troublesome if a billion-dollar corporation started preemptively censoring art. Not to mention, Drake has levied plenty of his own unsubstantiated claims against Kendrick this year, most notably on family matters. As I finish up here, it says, the hip-hop industry has fought for years to remind the judicial system in the US that not everything a rapper says is cold hard fact. We've seen in many lawsuits against rappers, their words are used against them, even though it's art. I heard this really great example once where someone was like, when Johnny Cash sings, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die, we don't actually assume that Johnny Cash definitely shot that guy. We know that there's some sort of a persona that he's putting on there. Why don't we extend the same courtesy to rappers? Anyways, so cold hard fact, and it should not be used as evidence against a rapper in a criminal sense. As top music attorney Dina LaPolte once put it to Variety, quote, these attempts to put all rap lyrics into categories of historical fact and fiction are failing to understand that hip-hop, like most art, is more complex than that. Lyrics are not to be taken literally. So yeah, I'm just happy to be backed up here because this was a glaring red flag to me all the way back in November.
I'm so happy right now. You don't understand with this UMG, Drake, Kendrick situation, Super Bowl, Grammys. This shit was driving me, and you know where it should be driving me, but this is one of the biggest, if not, this is the biggest victory in music history right here. I'm never finna call Drake out of his name. I'm team Drake 100%, and team Kendrick, and team all of us. Like Kendrick need to be going at UMG at this point. This is what I said in my version of Like That. I said, Lucien, lifetime deal. Like, let's stop aiming all this at each other. That's all, like, bro, you have no idea. Everything is worth everything for a moment like this, where we stop going at each other and we go at the slave masters.